Guys are just working on getting the kinks out. Everybody's trying to play together. Everyone's playing hard. That's the good thing. And it's early, so we can make mistakes, and then it's a matter of fixing them.
Cool. And in the Army football official program, you're listed as a nickelback this year. Kind of a new, right? Army's played nickelbacks before. We're all aware of that, but kind of a new designation in the past. Would you consider that kind of closer to what was considered the Apache position before, or more just like a third corner?
Yes, sir. Yeah. And the guys embrace me, like Chance Keith, Josiah Banks, Hamilton Baker. So we're all in that room together. And it's a obviously the brotherhood is an amazing place, but they embraced me. Going from safety to the Apache position is just awesome. So I'm grateful.
And what's the number one thing you're working on with your game over the next couple of weeks leading into opening day? What do you need to get ready for to be ready opening night against Lehigh?
Consistency because I want to play just as hard for my brothers. So if I can stay consistent, do my job, do my 111th, that's the most important thing to me.
And last question, the defensive backfield obviously lost a lot of production over the offseason with the graduations of Jabari Moore, Q Hammonds, number of others. But you guys have experience. Like a lot of you, it's not your first rodeo necessarily. Give me a little bit of a feel on how you feel like you guys are going to do based on the fact that you haven't had quite as many game reps, especially early in the season. And what have you learned maybe from some of your past brothers that can kind of help you guys as you get ready for game one?
It's great to learn from guys like Jabari. I remember my freshman year, Marquell Broughton was here, a tremendous leader. Q Hammonds played his tail off all year last year, and then Max DiDomenico is the captain, of course, and he is coach on the field, as I would like to call it. So learning from those guys, it's great. It just makes the game easier, and once you watch it in front of yourself, it's just easy to take after that.
Thanks, Casey.
Sir.
Oh, hey, Casey. Ken Kreitzer with Cam Vets Media. How are you tonight?
Good, sir. How are you?
Good, good. Hey, last year you got in a fair amount. You got in 12 games, and you had big days against Syracuse, 5 tackles, 6 tackles at LSU. You were in on. What is it like for you to be able to perform on those big days, those big stages?
It's just preparation. And half of that goes to my teammates. Like I said before, everyone's doing their 111th. And I just happen to make the plays, but I wouldn't make those plays if my teammates weren't there doing their job. So it's all one piece to a puzzle. So that's all I got to say about that.
Very good. And describe the nickel back for some of the fans who may not be familiar with the position. It's there to, third defensive back, but you're in there to stop the run just as much. Tell us about some of the responsibilities of that position.
Yes, sir. Basically, so Jimmy Charla last year. I mean, he's a tremendous. Now we know he's on the New York Giants. Just doing what he's doing. Kind of watch. The Jets. Sorry, excuse me. Sorry, Jimmy. But yeah. So just taking after him. So the same position as Jimmy. So just going in and trying to fill his shoes. Watching his film, watching his tape, and then also Malcolm Morrison that came before him. So just the same deal.
And final question is just what'd you do this summer, some of your training, and you've got your branching into the U.S. Army next year. What is an area of the Army that you're interested in?
Field artillery, sir. I just went to CTLT this summer. We went to Fort Drum. All the rising cows went, and field artillery kind of caught my eye. And then the more I got into it, I just fell in love with it. So that's what I'm looking forward to, branching there.
And you're going to be a junior this year. That's correct?
Yes, sir.
That's great. Well, thank you. Good to see you tonight.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Hey, Casey, Ken McMillan from Times Herald Record.
How are you, sir?
Good, thank you. Casey, you just mentioned Jimmy and Jersey football. You come from Jersey, so were you a Jets or a Giants guy?
I'm neither, sir. So I'm a Packers fan. I grew up a Jets fan because of LaDainian Tomlinson, but I was young. And then I kind of was watching the Giants actually play the Packers in an NFC divisional round, and I was like, man, I love Aaron Rodgers. So I just always been a Packers fan ever since.
Were you a college football fan as well?
Yes, sir.
Who was it?
I think everybody, every little kid, and I don't want to speak for everybody, but everybody loved the Oregon Ducks. But so
Kind of the fancy helmets, the fancy
everybody loved the uniforms. Yes, sir.
sure. Why West Point?
I chose West Point because obviously the opportunities and my commitment to serve. I think serving is the most respectable thing you can do as a person, and serving your country. And the people you work with that I've met here are the best people I've ever met. I've met my best friends that I feel like I've known for the rest of my whole life, and then I'm going to know them for the rest of my life. They're my brothers. And the biggest thing was just that brotherhood and the camaraderie that comes with being on at West Point and in the big army.
One of your teammates mentioned the other day about just biding time. So you didn't play as a freshman, you got in there as a sophomore, now you have a chance to make a real impact as a junior here. What's that timeline like? Are you happy with the process or
I think you cut out. But yeah, just to answer your first part of your question, I think you cut out. But yeah, I am happy because spending that year on scout team, I was making the offense better and also making myself better. I'm going against the starting offense, running the triple, and of course we play our Navy and Air Force, so it gives you practice there, and then it kind of goes into that spring ball where you kind of can feel it out. Now you got to roll on the team other than on the scout team, and it's just I'm happy with what happened in my career here so far.
what were the most valuable lessons you've learned as an Army football player?
Humility. You obviously don't know. There's so many different types of people, different types of walks of life on this team. And to hear that you might be struggling with something that isn't even close to as big as it seems to other people, and you could just talk to people, it's just awesome. So I just learned the thing of humility, and you kind of see all your teammates winning on the field and doing their thing, and you love it. I mean, it's just a happy ending every time, even if you're not on the field.
What was it like going 6-6 the last 2 years and with streaks at the end of positivity?
We wish we started faster. And I mean, we went back the end of the season. It was good, but we're not satisfied, and we just want to do better. And now we're in a conference, and we want to go to that conference championship game.
And just talk about CDLT, as you mentioned before. What's that summer experience like? We always hear about how difficult it is for the incoming freshmen and sophomores. What's it like, though, for the junior class?
It's a great experience. I think CTLT teaches you what the big army is actually all about, like the daily operations through the day to day. And we need that because you get so caught up in the cadet life and you don't really see what actual army life is like. So Monday through Friday, we were going hanging out with our LTs, going through their day to day, learning from them, learning the terminologies. There's so many acronyms in the army that you got to learn. They were teaching us that stuff. So it was just an overall great experience. You're with your brothers every day. Good. And also a lot of team bonding. There's a lot of opportunities for team bonding, but also learning as well.
Thanks, Casey. Appreciate the time.
Thank you so much, sir. Good. All right.
Next, we're going to have quarterback DeWayne Coleman.
Hey, DeWayne, Joe Icono with GoBlackKnights.com. Good evening. How was practice today?
Yes, sir. Good evening. Practiced pretty well today. The rain kind of scared us a little bit at the beginning. We had to practice inside, but I think we got some good work. We improved. We're getting better.
And, you've been now playing under three different offenses at Army, really. Three different offensive coordinators, Coach Worley coming in. I know you guys had the chance to do a lot of install in the spring, and you had a really good spring game. A lot of good reports came out of that. How is adapting to the new offense going for you? I know it's kind of a little bit of a throwback or hybrid of the last two offenses, so it's not something entirely new, but just explain what that process has been like for you and the other quarterbacks.
Yes, sir. For me and our quarterback room, it's been pretty smooth. We've had Coach Worley this entire time since I got into the program, so he's broken it down. He's taught us a lot of things about defenses and how our offensive scheme is supposed to work, and Coach Worley has made it very easy and still makes it easy to this day, sir.
And last question for you, the quarterback room, there's been some changes there. A couple of guys left the program, a couple new guys, a couple position changes as well. Of course, you and Bryson Daly are returning with that group. Talk a little bit about the chemistry in the quarterback room, what it's been like with some of the young talent, and kind of how you see your role in that room as one of the more experienced quarterbacks.
Yes, sir. It's been great. Me, Bryson, Kel Helms, Mitch Bolden, and then our two freshmen coming in. We're very confident in our ability to play quarterback, all of us. And we help each other play and learn the schemes. We've been focusing on defenses and defensive structures going into this season. And I feel like everybody's doing their role on helping each other learn those defenses and be efficient.
Thanks, DeWayne.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
DeWayne, hi, Ken Kreitzer with Cam Vets Media. Good to see you tonight.
Yes, sir. Good to see you.
Hey, last year you had got in a couple of games. You were in at Syracuse, you got in at LSU as well as Delaware State. What were those experiences playing on a big stage like for you?
Yes, sir. So I didn't play in Delaware State, sir, but in the Syracuse game, I did. It did feel good to make that dream come true for the younger DeWayne Coleman. It was great to get on that field with my teammates, all the hard work I put in and we've put in through prep school and all of our time here at West Point. If it was a dream come true, sir.
That's great. Now, as Joe was asking you about, you have the offense shifting again this year, back a little bit to more of the run type offense that was prevalent when you got here. How is that for you? How do you feel about the way the offense is set up this year?
Yes, sir. We have a lot of weapons on offense, from the O-line to the receivers to the slots to the B-backs to our quarterbacks. We have a lot of weapons everywhere, and we all trust in Coach Worley and our other offensive coaches to put us in the best positions to make the most explosive plays and win games.
Yeah, I noted in your bio that in high school you were National Honor Society, which is a wonderful recognition. How have you approached your academic side at West Point?
Yes, sir. I've really leaned on my support system down in the Corps Cadets. I have a lot of great teammates down there in the Corps that help me when I'm struggling in different subjects. And there's a big group of people that helps people learn. And then there's a lot of study sessions that allow for the people that may be a little bit more advanced academically to help me and help my teammates around me.
That's great. Final question, just, going into your third year, you played well in the spring games. How do you feel like the game is slowing down a little bit for you, or is the college game just always a challenge?
Yes, sir. The college game is always a challenge. Coach Monken always says it. It's hard enough to win a football game, so don't help the other team. And I really believe that. So I go in every day trying to do my job, and I trust in my other 10 teammates to do their job, and I feel like we'll come out victorious.
Very good. Thanks, Dwayne. Good to see you.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
Hey, Dwayne, Ken McMillan with the Times Herald Record.
Yes, sir. How you doing?
Good, thank you. Dwayne, you just kind of referenced earlier about the younger Dwayne Coleman. Have we suddenly grown up? Are we older Dwayne now?
Yes, sir. 20-year-old Dwayne, striving as a cadet, a Cal, excited for this new season and this new year at West Point.
Is there a change in attitude or approach?
So I have the same goals. I've matured a lot. I feel like over my years, I feel like I have a lot of room to improve, but I definitely have seen growth in my mindset.
You mentioned growth and maturity. Can you sort of relate on that?
Yes, sir. When it comes to life, I've learned to embrace others and serve others. I've learned to not just think about me, but think about how I can help the people around me, because that'll eventually help me and help those. And I feel like when you help other people, you get good juju back. And also when it comes to physically and mentally on the football field, I feel like I've matured with my confidence and my ability to trust in my teammates. I feel like when I get into the quarterback room and I'm able to draw up plays and draw up everyone's job, it really enhances me on the field to be calm and collected to be able to do my job.
Obviously, we don't see the numbers in actual action, but you know whether you've improved or whatever. Do you feel as though you've improved your game, and in what areas?
Yes, sir. There's still a lot of improvement for me to do. I'm nowhere near the player that I want to be, but I feel like mainly I've matured in my ball security. That's a big thing for our team. And I feel like I've grown in my ability to cover the football with two hands when I'm in traffic, and also when I'm in meshes to be efficient in my mesh.
You've always come across as very positive, very excitable, but I mean, maybe it's just today, but you seem a little more restrained. Is this part of the maturing process? Is this part of the what West Point does to you?
No, sir. I'm still very excited, very energetic, and bring a lot of energy. Just finished practice. I'm not with my teammates, so I don't really have the same energy, but I'm still energetic, and if they came in here, I'll get real hype.
All right. I want to ask you sort of a position question. Uh, Quarterback is obviously a very important role in football, and yet West Point always emphasizes the 1 out of 11. Can you talk about the dichotomy of that? Because you have to be the leader as a quarterback, and yet you also want to be part of the group. Tell me about that.
Yes, sir. I look at quarterback as the voice of everyone else's opinions. I feel like it's important for the quarterback to know everyone's job and be able to decipher everyone's emotions. You have 10 other men that are very excited to do their job, but I feel like it's the quarterback's job to take control and ensure that everyone's in the right position to do their job.
And lastly, just talk about the quarterback room again. Bryson seems to be the incumbent at the moment, but tell me about your job to push him.
Yes, sir. The quarterback room is amazing. Like I said, Coach Roy does a great job at preparing us and teaching us new things that we previously did not know. Bryson's a great mentor. He's taught me a lot of things when it comes to the triple option and also reading different defenses. Kel Helms and Mitch Bowden also do a great job at assisting me when I find myself struggling in certain areas. I feel like our quarterback room is very prepared to be victorious this season.
Do you like being in the new American League?
Yes, sir. I'm very excited to see what this league brings us.
Mm-hmm. All right. Thank you.
So thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
All right.
All right, we're gonna have Brady Small to finish this up tonight.
Good.
Hey, Brady, Joe Icono with GoBlackKnights.com. How you doing tonight? How's the first week of practice been for you?
It's been really good. Very happy with how the offensive line have been playing. And honestly, the offense has been doing very well, so I'm very happy so far.
Great. And, a couple new faces on the offensive line, but you guys do have a lot of game reps across the board. If you look at especially the top 5 or top 6 on the O-line. Talk a little bit about how this new version of the mob is gelling and coming together and what you see for this unit going forward as the season gets rolling here.
Yeah, so I mean, I see the offensive line as the key component to our offense, right? We don't run without the offensive line. We pride ourselves in being the unit that's going to dominate teams up front. And, we got a bunch of young guys stepping up. We got guys like Paolo Generelli, Lane Parks, guys that are stepping up in really big positions right now. We're down and basically, it's going to stay the same, right? The offensive line is always going to be the toughest unit on the field. And, we pride ourselves on that. And, I'm just really excited to see what this unit can do this year.
And last year, you were in a super unique position, especially at West Point, of being a starting freshman center. We really haven't seen that much over the years at West Point. A lot of pressure, and you handled it extremely well. And it's funny, even though you're only going into your sophomore yearling year here, you seem like a cagey veteran at this point because of all the starts you've had and kind of one of the leaders of the offensive line. Talk a little bit about how your leadership skills, since, as Coach Munkin says, West Point is the #1 leadership lab in the country. Talk a little bit about how your leadership skills have matured and improved, leading the mob kind of as the center over the last year and now in the spring and fall practice.
Yeah, I mean, I had a really great group of seniors last year that have kind of paved the way for this unit right now. And we have really good seniors this year. We got Lucas Scott, we got Booby Law, David Hoyt. We got guys that are natural leaders that make it easier for me to help lead this unit. And it kind of allows me to take what I've already, like the game experience that I have, and kind of put it into the rest of the unit. So, if anything was to happen, we can be firing on all cylinders, no matter what.
And, last year you guys primarily ran out of the shotgun, although the Coastal Carolina game was different, obviously. This year it'll be a lot more under center, a lot more hybrid. How are the center quarterback exchanges going, knowing that you have to switch between gun and under center?
Yeah, I mean, that's what me and Bryson have been doing a lot, especially this offseason. It's just one of those things that, you do it so many times, it becomes a natural thing, and kind of the most important thing is the snap, right? So we kind of have our system and we have it down to a T. And, I'm just really excited to see what this offense can do and how we're going to perform this year.
And last question for you, similar to something Ken asked your high school teammate Kanye Udo and backfield mate here the other day. You know, now that the pressure of plebe year at West Point is kind of off your shoulders, and you've gone through Buckner and getting ready to start your yearling year. Does that kind of free you up a little bit mentally? And just take a little bit of stress off to be able to think about football a little bit more. I mean, I know you were always thinking about it anyway as the starting center, but there is a lot of pressure that comes along with being a plebe. Do you feel a little freer mentally?
Um, yeah, I guess in a way, kind of a little less, things that I have to do down there, that like little tax and stuff that they make plebes do. But, West Point, all 4 years is going to be difficult. Academically, it just gets harder each year, right? But
Yeah.
I'm super excited. I have really good support system down at the core, and I have people that in my circle that are willing to help me, so I can do what I have to do up here. And I'm just really excited to handle my business down there, so I can do what I got to do up here to help our team win.
Thanks, Brady.
Thank you.
Brady, good to see you. Ken Kreitzer with Cam Vets Media. And again, as Joe asked you about, you came in from not being a center. As I understand, in high school, you played defense. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And you made how did you make the adjustment to being a center and then being called to be a starter when Bill Cassianis got hurt last summer? And how did you make that adjustment to learning the position and then having to go in and start?
Right. So, I mean, as a defensive lineman, one thing that I really prided myself on was like a motor, playing really fast, playing physical. Right. So I just took what I knew from defense and kind of applied it to offense. And turns out that's what we pride ourselves on the offensive line. So it was a perfect fit. And, I don't think I would have been able to do it that early without the help of Coach Vitti, Coach Drenkel, and, the senior class. They really took me in, like I've said before, and they really helped me, especially Bill Cassianis. Me and Bill would stay after practice, and he would hammer the fundamentals with me, make sure I knew everything and that just shows what type of leader he is and shows what type of man that he is to allow, something really unfortunate was happening to him. And instead of wanting the worst for me, he wanted what was best for me, the best for this team, and he helped me tremendously.
Very good. And just how did your game improve over the season? And you played all 12 games, and then you got to the big games at the end of the season, against Air Force and Navy, the big rivalry games. How did your game grow over the course of the year?
Yeah, I would just say getting getting more comfortable at the center position, right? Not playing center at all growing up. Kind of allowed me to, the first couple of games kind of just get a feel. And, when you have such a good support system around you, it makes it kind of easier to feel more comfortable. And, like I said, that senior class, they put a lot of trust in me, right? It's not easy to put a lot of trust into a center, a freshman center especially. And, one of the most important positions on the field, like you can't get a playoff without the snap. And, those guys really put a lot of trust in me. The coaches put a lot of trust in me. And, I'm really thankful that they had that faith in me, that I was willing to, that I could do my job.
I got to ask you, you went against Syracuse and LSU last year, big names in college football. And I remember when Army went out to Oklahoma, and I asked the center at the time, what is it like to lead your team up and the other team's players all have Oklahoma on their jersey? And he said, they're just say they're red jerseys. How did you feel like when you got into a couple of those big situations and you're leading your team up to the line?
Yeah, I mean, just like that other center said, we just another jersey, just another team, right? We don't look into who we're playing, right? I mean, it's just a nameless face opponent, right? And one thing that I'm really happy about last year with that unit was we were able to handle adversity very well. 2-6 team going into the Air Force week and was able to turn it around and end up winning the CIC. So, I'm very happy for that group, but I'm really excited for this group of guys that we have this year, and I'm really excited to see what we can do.
Hey, last question. Just how did you manage it all last year? Starting to get a starting assignment, you're handling all the freshman requirements, and then going to starting your academics at West Point. How'd you handle all that?
I have a great support system. I got a great support system at home. there was a lot of days that were super tough, right? So my family played a big part, kind of keeping me sane. And I have a great support system here down at the core. We have academic advisors. If I was struggling in a class, they would get me the extra help that I needed. And like I said up here, that senior class and the coaches were really willing to work with me and hammer down everything that I needed to do to perform on the field.
Thanks. Good to see you.
Thanks, sir.
Hi, Brady. Ken McMillan, Times Herald record.
How you doing, sir?
Good, Brady. Hey, Jets or Giants? Was it a decision to make as a Jersey guy, or?
Yeah, so I'm actually at the bottom of South Jersey, so I technically should be an Eagles fan, but I'm a Giants fan. I'm a Giants fan.
All right, cool. As far as stepping into the position, you mentioned about making the move from defensive line to center, but how did that come about? Was it a suggested to you, or did you say, "Oh, look, open spot"?
I think it was so Coach Drinkle recruited me, right? And I think it was one of those things that they were looking for a center, and I guess I fit the center description for our offensive line. And at prep, Noah Knapp was our AI who played offensive line for this brotherhood, and he kind of gave me the news. He was like, basically told me that from the big boss down here, you're moving the center. So I at first, I wasn't super thrilled, but my dad told me I have two decisions to make. I can either like cry about it and just pout, or make the most of your decision. Obviously, they want you to play center for a reason, and the rest was history.
All right, but still, you had to kind of, it seems simple enough, hike the ball, right? But it's not. So how did you learn the position?
Yeah, so lots of hours in Coach Drinkle and Coach Vidi's office, right? So, my first start against ULM obviously didn't go the way we wanted, and that next week, hours on hours in the office, just hammering the playbook and just making sure that that would not happen again. And I would be naive to think that I got here alone. I know I didn't, and like I've said before, that senior class and the coaches have really been tremendous to me.
But did the position come natural to you?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, like I said earlier, kind of just took what I knew from defensive line and applied it to the offensive line. Obviously, it took a little bit to get comfortable with the snaps, but once you get the snap down, you kind of just play fast, and let the rest happen.
Is that a scary position?
No, I love center, right? A guy that never wanted to play offensive line in college that is playing offensive line in college. I don't regret anything. I'm so happy that I got moved to offensive line. Is one of the best things that has happened to me. And I'm just super excited for this unit and how we're going to perform this year.
You mentioned ULM was a disappointment for the team, but how about just how confident were you early on, or was this something that was a project that we just didn't see?
Um, can you repeat
As
that?
far as your development.
Oh yeah. So I mean, like, I guess in a way, like the ULM game, just we as a unit on both sides of the ball, we didn't play up to par for our standards, and you know our captains did a great job last year, and really like sat us down and was like, we cannot let this happen again. Like we were the better team, right? Obviously we lost, but we didn't let that game define us, and we had a rocky start, but we were able to turn it around and end up winning the CIC. So.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about that big picture sense. You guys win the CIC, which is critical to you, but you also went 6-6. Tell me what it was like when the season was over and you guys got together and chatted and talked. What was the mood? What was the reaction to it?
I mean, obviously, we were super excited to win the CIC, right? It's one of the biggest trophies for the academies. But we 6-6 is unacceptable for this program, right? We hold ourselves to a higher standard, and it was right back to work, right? So the whole talk during this offseason was like, we don't want to go 6-6. We want to have a winning record. We want to go to a bowl game, and we want to win the CIC again. So that's been the standard, and I'm really happy with how we performed in the spring and the summer. And yeah, so I'm super excited, really excited for this season.
Sure. Last thing, Kanye Udo was a teammate. What did you see of this kid when you were in high school together?
Yeah, so Kanye's always been special, right? Kanye, I used to call him the silent assassin, right? He doesn't talk a lot, right? And in high school, he would just
run through people's faces. You better bring more than one person to tackle him. But you know, luckily I was able to convince him to come to Army. You know, recruiting was a weird time for us during COVID, and you know, he needed a home. And you know, I reached out to Coach Drinkle, who was recruiting me. I was like, "Yo, we need this kid," and you know, he agreed, and I was able to convince him to come. And you know, the rest is history. We went to prep together, and you know, and we just won the first CIC together. So
Obviously, you rely on all your classmates eventually, but still having a friend that close to you, how much of an assistance was that?
yeah, it was awesome. I mean, that was my selling piece to him. You know, we played 4 years together in high school. Why not making another 4 in college, right? And you know, me and him have always had that tight relationship, the offensive line running back relationship, and you know, being able to move back to the offensive line to block for him, I know he was really excited, and you know, I was actually kind of excited after I thought about it. I was like, okay, I get to block for him again, like I did in high school. So.
But we've seen the Army running backs with Buchanan and such were just bulls. But Kanye strikes me as a guy who can bowl, but also is very nifty, finds those little holes.
Yeah. So I mean, we have a great running back room, right? We got guys like Kanye, and then we got guys like Jake Grandina, who reminds me of Jacoby Buchanan, who is going to pound the ball on the 4th and 1, right? So I mean, we have a whole bunch of different weapons, and you know, that's why I'm like so excited for how the season's going to turn out, and you know, joining the AAC, obviously getting to play a whole set of different teams. You know, it's going to be a great year.
Last thing, you talked to earlier about doing a lot of work with Bryson in the offseason. Tell me about your work with all the other quarterbacks. What's it like for a center? It's like a catcher having to get used to 5 starting pitchers, I imagine.
Yeah, so I mean, all the centers, all the quarterbacks during the summer would go out together, and we would have all the quarterbacks just rotate. So we would do 5 snaps, rotate next quarterback, and we would just go right down the line, and we just keep doing that because you know every center is different, and you know just getting comfortable with each quarterback is key, and I think that's really benefited us, you know, during the first starts of camp. So,
So you feel comfortable with anybody behind you.
sir,
All right, sounds good. Brody, thank you for your time.
thank you, sir. Have a good one.